Okay, will the June 5th, 2013 meeting of the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission please come to order? Thank you all for your attendance this evening. For the benefit of those present who may not have participated in the P&Z meeting, I will review our public hearing procedure, which is as follows. We will read the legal notice for the public hearing portion of this meeting as published in the local newspaper. The applicants will then be invited to come forward and present their case, explaining to the commission and the public what is specifically being requested of the subject property. Written comments from town agencies pertaining to the application will then be read into the record if the commission has received any. The commissioners will then ask their clarifying questions, and then the public will be invited to ask any questions they have about the application. I will then ask those in attendance who support the application to please come forward and make their statement. And then I will ask those in attendance who oppose the application to please come forward and make their statement regarding the application. As this is a public hearing, it will be necessary for those coming forward to ask questions or to speak for or against any application to please identify themselves and state their name and address for the record prior to proceeding. At the conclusion of all statements from the public and the applicant, I will close the public hearing on the application. The applicant and the public are then free to leave or remain for the balance of the public hearings and the regular meeting, at which time the commission will discuss each application under consideration and try to reach a decision. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decisions of this commission. The applicant and/or any aggrieved party with legal standing will have the right to appeal this decision to Superior Court within the statutory time frame if they so desire. All decisions reached at this meeting will be available to the public the next day by either visiting or calling the Planning and Zoning Office after 9:30 a.m. Seated this evening are the following Guilford Planning and Zoning Commissioners: Frank DeAndrea, Walter Corbiere, Ray Bauer, Tom Cost, Peter Golitz, and Kim Bailey. Staff present this evening are George Crowell, Town Planner, Reggie Reed, Zoning Enforcement Officer. Our recording secretary is Donette, and the videographer this evening is Shannon Gale. Will the secretary please read the legal notice?
Legal notice, Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given that the Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on June 5th, 2013 at 7:30 p.m. at the Nathaniel B. Green Community Center, Mononkatuk Room, 2nd floor, 32 Church Street, Guilford, Connecticut, for the following purposes. 1. Anthony Terracciano, the Doe Market LLC property located at 934 Boston Post Road, map 47, lot 23, zone PV. Special permit to allow seasonal outdoor dining with light background music at restaurant within 100 feet of residential property, section 273-75Q. Number 2, Christina Hutton, property located at 13, 17, and 23 Rock Lane, map 17, 10, lots 68 and 69, 29, zone R2, after the fact coastal area management site plan for 3 seawalls and 1 dock, section 273-91. Number 3, Christopher McManus, property located at 86 Seaside Avenue, map 29, lot 119, zone R3, coastal area management site plan application for demolition of existing house and construction of new residence within 100 feet of critical coastal resources, section 273-91. Number 4, Caleb and Judy Orcutt, property located at 200 Orcutt Drive, map 94, lot 6A, zone R8, special permit to allow accessory apartment in single-family residence, section 273-19. Number 5, Rick and Jane Schulten, property located at 1820 Moose Hill Road, map 77, lot 5, zone R8, special permit to allow 2-family conversion, section 273-18. Number 6, Arthur Murray School of Dance, property located at 11 Water Street, map 39, lot 88, zone C1, special permit to allow studio for dance instruction in C1 zone, table 5, line 27. Copies of these applications are available for inspection in the office of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Town Hall South, 50 Boston Street, Guilford, Connecticut. At this hearing, persons may attend and be heard, and written communications will be received. Dated at Guilford, Connecticut, this 16th day of May, 2013. Ray Bauer, Chairman.
Thanks very much, Walt. Just before we get started, a quick announcement. If you're here for the Rick and Jane Schulten application, that's a property located at 1820 Moose Hill Road, special permit to allow 2-family conversion. That has been withdrawn, so we will not be going forward with that application tonight, so that's the only reason you're here. You don't have to stick around. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to just take one site plan out of order And we'll vote on that since this is not a public hearing due to the fact that some of the participants need to leave a little bit early. So what we'll take now is the Guilford High School property located at 605 New England Road. This is a site plan revision to allow relocation of ropes course, walkway, and landscaping.
Move that over here so that we can,
Good evening. For the record, I'm Tom Shield with Miami McBroom. We are handling the site engineering and landscape architecture for Guilford High School, and we have just a handful of small modifications to go over with you. And I'm up to this map, but we're going to be speaking about the area to the east of the new high school, which is the tennis courts, and is here as well. This is the enlargement. The changes subsequent to the approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, a handful of minor modifications have been placed on the plan. So we want to get your approval for these minor modifications. And they are highlighted for you. These are the tennis courts, New England Road, new school down here. So what we're going to do is build a bituminous concrete walkway, which is graded to an accessible route to the ropes course, which is east of the tennis courts. The approval that we received from you did not include this sidewalk. It also did not include a relocated shed for the ropes course. And in addition, we are not going to be using the parking for the tennis courts that's there currently, because there's going to be construction activity. So we're going to build 12 parking spaces at the driveway to the Board of Ed building, just to the east, okay? And subsequent to that decision, Kevin McGee from Environmental and Wetlands asked for some technical support for the 12 parking spaces. So the blue line is an infiltration, a stone trench that the water will flow to from the additional 12 spaces. So we have a management plan for an inch of runoff for the 12 additional spaces. And the users of the tennis courts will walk on the town sidewalk along the road, and we will build this other section of sidewalk that's going to allow people to walk right to the entry to the tennis courts. Up high as well. The other red dot on the plan is a relocated tennis shed, which I think has already been relocated to that location, but it's on the plan. That's really the sum and substance of any of the modifications subsequent to the approvals that you granted. So we'd like to gain your approval for that. The other issue is some landscaping that the Board of Ed is working with the resident who's here, Imogene, who lives in Malvern Farms. Her house is here. And when we had our public hearings and we had our meetings, there was discussion about a lot of the storm damage to the town property. A lot of the trees have come down. And Imogene was concerned about views and all the activity that is now opened up. And it's our understanding that the Board of Ed has come to an agreement with Imogene to clear out the dead trees and to plant new evergreens to help provide some additional screening that's been lost because of storm activity. And although we are not the developer of that plan, Cliff Gorham from Board of Ed did work, as we understand, with Imogene, and those commitments have been made. I don't think the plantings have been done yet, but they are, about the best of my knowledge, going to be done. So that's the little twist to the minor modifications.
We received a letter dated May 24th from Kevin McGee, environmental planner and tree warden for the town of Guilford, regarding this application. The applicant is proposing to construct a ropes course in a wooded area between the tennis courts and the Board of Education office parking lot. a sidewalk and a parking area. The sidewalk should be constructed in a manner to disrupt the minimum number of trees in order to protect the wooded buffer between Long Hill Farms and the tennis courts. The school system should add to their capital plan the planting of conifers in this wooded buffer. The approval letter should note that in accordance with Chapter 252-9 of the Guilford Town Code, that a permit is required from the town tree warden for any planting and removal of any trees or shrubs located in town property. The proposed parking area shown does not show any stormwater treatment practices. I recommend that this parking area be constructed utilizing pervious paving technique, or that catch basins attached to a subsurface infiltration system be installed to treat the additional stormwater, and that has been taken care of, so that's been addressed. And really, I guess the remainder of this is more or less addressed to the Board of Ed with regard to the planting of the trees, but we do have a plan in place. You're okay with the plan that's been proposed?
Yes, I'm waiting for them to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like this is one of those situations that seems to have worked out there. Okay, questions from the commission?
I have a couple.
Tom?
Start. The parking lot for the tennis courts are in the driveway, I see that. What is, then there's two squares there, I'm assuming the upper one where the sidewalk goes in is the tennis courts?
Yes.
What is this other delineated area to the right of that?
Yeah, 4 tennis courts and a landscape strip and 2 more tennis courts.
Okay, so the other tennis courts, so.
I just sort of highlighted them in a black outline, so you
Okay, so if I wanted to go play, the way this is currently, if I understand this correctly, if I want to go play tennis, I have to park in the 12 spots that are there, and I have to go out on the sidewalk and come in that way.
correct.
So
So,
that's temporary, right?
That's temporary,
Okay.
while the school is being built. This parking is going to be completed and released at the stage when they can to put it back for use.
okay,
But
all
while the
right,
school is getting built, that's going to be the parking.
okay. Only during that period of time?
Correct.
Okay. I don't, I guess the other comment I want to make, I feel a little bit uncomfortable about the part about the trees, because we have in front of us, I don't think, any description or anything that's happening with what's going to take place with those trees. So it's almost like, to me, we're being asked to sign off on a blank check, even though the school the system is agreed to work with you folks. We don't have any, there's nothing here, there's nothing on the plan, there's nothing where the trees are gonna go, and,
Well, this was, we all might just recall by way of history here, there was already a site plan that we've approved with regard to this, and that issue had come up. And as I recall, when we had discussion about that, we asked the school board or the building committee or whoever was necessary to contact the individuals who were affected by the trees that went down and everything and try to reach an agreement, because it wasn't really something that we had jurisdiction over. There was issues with the school budget, et cetera, et cetera. So we did ask them to try to review that. And when they did come back to us with these modifications, which they said they would need to do, it apprised us of where they were with it. And it sounds like there is an agreement in place that the individual who lives in that area is happy with, and the Board of Ed has indicated they would do it. So, I mean,
It's my understanding as well. I think the important point that was made by the applicant is that the tree planting is not technically part of this high school building project in terms of the application that was submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission, nor is it part of the high school building project in terms of the budget for that project. It's separate from the applications before. It was obviously part of the same property, but it's not technically part of the site plan application, I believe. Is that a fair way of putting it?
That is correct.
it was a best efforts basis, and
Right.
even if they didn't come in with a site plan, the same problem would exist, because they came down during the storm, and whether or not we had this or not, it was still going to be an issue, so.
Right, there is a note on the site plan that references that there is landscaping that's going to be installed by the Board of Ed, so.
on the one that's been filed here.
It's the second sheet.
Let's take a look at that.
Or actually, it's even on the front one, the one you have right there. There's a little line that says it, right over the property line.
Oh, okay.
So it does reference that.
I don't see anything on ours. This one?
That's,
Oh, no, what do you have?
That's, it's just a,
Mine says it right here. Additional landscaping to be installed by Board of Ed.
you don't have it? It's not on mine.
Oh, no, look in the second, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
The
okay, second one.
C4-1.
Yep, second one I have.
Okay, yeah, additional landscaping to be installed by Board of Education. Okay.
So it does at least bring it up.
I mean, I'm personally confident that the Board of Education and their facilities people are going to carry out and implement this plan. They don't really need, we don't need the additional enforcement authority of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I don't think, in order to ensure that this happens. I think there's
Well, it's
plenty
on
of
the- it's
reason,
on the plan,
to believe
and-
that they will do that.
I think the individual most impacted or affected by the loss of the vegetation is here this evening has indicated that she is pleased with the response, so, I mean, that's good enough for me.
Pleased with the response, you can see that.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's,
We've already,
We've-
the agreement's already very specific.
but, I mean, we're not in a position to enforce that agreement anyways here,
Correct.
so.
But
that's
I don't
Board of Ed
have
has
any
to.
doubt that it will be accomplished.
All right. Any other questions or concerns or?
Just the, in the back, it's really for ADA compliance,
Yes, it is.
and it's,
Bituminous concrete.
and currently, are we close to ADA compliant? Or is, because we're in construction, we're not really in compliance right now for that?
Well, the growth course is being relocated, so the current location has its own arrangement for access, but that's all going to change now.
Right.
So we have to feel the new condition.
So without that, we're just, I mean, if we didn't approve this, we would be out of compliance.
Well, you would have a problem with your accessible route because the temporary route on the sidewalk for the tennis court does exceed 5% on the street.
Okay.
Like,
This takes care of it. Plus, it keeps the kids away from the street.
yeah.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay, then, if not, I'll ask for a motion. If somebody would like it, I have it here. Sure.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a site plan revision for the Guilford High School, 605 New England Road, map 84, lot 1, and map 85, lot 9, to permit a walkway and ropes course as shown on, quote, civil site plan grading Guilford High School, end quote, C5.1, dated December 5th, 2012, revised to 2013, May 13th, prepared by Malone and McBroom. This application is approved with no conditions.
We might want to just cite in the, they've already agreed to deal with the issue there, talking about the proposed parking, so that's been, so we might as well make Kevin's letter a condition.
Include it? Okay. And that paving is not pervious. They instead went with the catch basin.
The catch
right?
basin technique.
This application is approved with the following conditions: that a catch basin as described,
Actually, it's an infiltration trench.
infiltration trench, that an infiltration trench as described on the aforementioned plan will be included.
Good. And this application is?
This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code.
All right.
Zoning code.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion on it? Okay, I'm pleased with the fact that it appears as though we've got an agreement with the property owners who are most impacted by this. Relatively minor changes, and I'm good to go with it. So I guess I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, you're all set. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go back to the regular agenda now in terms of public hearings. Good, thank you. First item is Anthony Terraciano. This is the Dough Market LLC, property located at 934 Boson Post Road. This is a special permit to allow seasonal outdoor dining with light background music at a restaurant within 100 feet of the residential property. Sir.
Hi. My name's Anthony Terraciano, I'm the proprietor of the Dough Market at 934 Boston Post Road. And I'm seeking a special permit for seasonal outdoor seating and doing some light music.
Okay, how close is, I know this is a fairly large piece of property, so how close is this actually to the residential area? I know
I'm on the east side,
Okay.
so I'm actually on the opposite side of where the residential is, so it's probably more about, I know it states within 100 feet from about 400 feet from the actual residence.
We don't have a site plan. We have a drawing of what's got proposed there, but do we have a site plan of the site lot to see where it is as compared to the house?
Where's the residence down by White House, right?
This application, recall, its use was actually approved previously, the site plan application for change of use. This is the application for the outdoor seating.
This is where Mr. Terracino's business will be located.
That's Pete's,
These-
right?
Yes, and these are,
So they're
Are you planning on
That is
adding
residential.
lighting? There's
This
some
is residential.
track
This
lighting
is way on the
above
other
there
side
right
of
now,
the-
but
This is
back when it
correct.
was pin cycles and stoves.
yes, this is the
All the way
one.
to the other side of the building.
Maybe I should wait for them to.
These two
before-
residential. That's why the special permit is true.
It's way over to the end. Okay, so, did you get that question answered? See it?
Can I take a look at that?
Sure.
But you can show it.
While you're reviewing that, Frank, I think, Walter, you had a question for the applicant?
The lighting, when this was Pete Cycles and Stoves, they had that outdoor area. Sometimes they had things out there, and they do have lighting already up above. Are you planning on changing the lighting or adding to it or
There's
doing?
been some lighting changes already, they've already been sealed, these come out to the light posts out there. There's been some LED lights that have been changed on canopies. And then also, my hours are ending at 6 at night, so it's seasonal this time of year, being 8 o'clock, it would really be easy to have lighting for the outdoor seating, those hours from 7 a.m. to 3 o'clock.
Okay. We do have a letter from Dennis Johnson, Director of Health for the town, in the file related to this application. The applicant's proposed outdoor seasonal seating area is compatible with food service regulations and on-site septic system capacity. Any other questions at this time
Yes,
from
I
the
have-
commission? Tom, please.
How would you define seasonal? How do you define seasonal?
Usually when there's good weather out for me, but I would say from probably April 1st to October 31st, so spring and summer.
Okay, any questions from the public on this? Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my question is,
Please name and address first.
oh, sorry, I'm Patty Liggum, and I live at 95 State Street. I'm one of those properties close to you. When I moved to State Street in 2000, there were rats visible in an adjacent property. That problem's been dealt with. I'm just wondering, have you any measures in place to keep it sanitary and healthy and safe with the outdoor food?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I would definitely hire a pesticide control company to take care if there's any sightings of any rodents. Right now, I haven't seen any currently there now.
Right, my question was more preventive. Will you have closed dumpsters or,
I
garbage, trash
will have a
receptacles?
closed dumpster for the trash. Right now, there's 2 containers there now that are open. That's only because there's no construction phase. So yes, there will be preventive measures.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the public? Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is there anybody wishing to speak against the application?
I am, actually.
Tom, do you have another question?
Sure. You plan on having music the whole time you're open?
It's going to be light music, and I like that question because I asked a lot, what kind of music and so on and so forth. It's mostly going to be, it's It's going to be a gourmet place, a gourmet restaurant, bakery. So the music I'm going to be providing is just kind of more of a within the indoor atmosphere and environment, more along the lines of elevator music, Sinatra. It's not going to be at a high decibel level. So I would anticipate that it would be on from 7 to in the morning until when I close at 6.
It'll be on outside from 7 o'clock in the morning until?
Well, it doesn't have to be, but if I can allow that, then that's what I'll do.
And again, how far, this area, how far is it from the residential property, the closest residential property?
Being on the east side, buildings probably about I haven't drawn a line or anything, but I would say I would think it'd be about 400 feet.
Okay. I mean, by looking at it, you can tell the relative distance there. You're a lot closer to Route 1 there than you are to the residential.
Yeah, I'm on the east side, so it's
Okay. Building to some extent shielded from the residential area, which is here.
and on the music end, it would be just one speaker, a small speaker. It's not, I'm not going to have a big system.
Okay.
This is what we're looking at now, right? This is existing, or this also is outdoor?
This is outdoor, this
This
is
whole-
Bank of America.
Yeah, this is the canopy and the outdoors too.
Oh, the canopy goes the whole way.
No,
It's
I'm sorry,
already there.
This is the canopy right here, and then just here.
So is this covered or not covered?
This is not, this
Okay, further questions? Everybody okay with any other questions? Any other questions from the public or any other input anybody would like to provide to us on this application? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you. We'll move on to the next application, which is the Orcutt application. This is property located at 200 Orcutt Drive, special permit to allow an accessory apartment and a single-family residence.
Good evening, my name is Caleb Orcutt. I live at 200 Orcutt Drive in Guilford. My wife and I are applying for a permit to have an accessory apartment. We are going to be changing the look of the exterior. The house was built with the same floor plan that we're going to be reusing. We built the house to the extent possible within the requirements for an accessory apartment. Looking forward to this day.
Okay. We have a letter from Dennis Johnson regarding the application. Dennis is the Director of Health of the Town of Guilford. The applicant's proposed accessory apartment addition is compatible with the existing septic system serving the building. It is recommended that the applicant's proposed use be approved. George Reggie, this meets all the requirements from the checklist? Okay.
I've seen the space and it actually is adequate.
Okay. Questions from the commission?
How many bedrooms do you have now on the septic system?
The number of bedrooms will not change. Right now we have 2. 6.
Oh, wow. So you're reconfiguring the layout, or?
0. We've operated, we've had, this apartment has been operated as a guest room. So it's at the same number of bathrooms, same number of bedrooms as the original building, and the septic system is sized to improve.
Any other questions from the commission at this point? Any questions from the public? Is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is there anybody wishing to speak against the application? Okay, going. Any more questions? Okay, thank you so much. We'll close the public hearing, and we'll move on to the Hutton application. This is property located at a bunch of places on Rock Lane, after the fact coastal area management site plan for 3 seawalls and 1 dock. And I believe this was site walked by the commission, so we'll ask somebody who was there to please give us a report after the applicant has completed their presentation. Please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. Again, I'm here tonight on behalf of my client, Christina Hutton, for her properties at 13, 17, and 23 Rock Lane in Guilford, Connecticut. What you see in front of you is another camp after the fact. You may remember last month I was in front of you with one or two of these projects. Basically, both 13, 17, and 23 received extensive damage from Tropical Storm Sandy. The repairs that were within your jurisdiction were basically minor in nature. Mr. Kevin McGee had given Chris Hutton permission to go forward with those repairs. The town's been on board since day one. I actually got bought in towards the end of the project after it was almost approximately 90% complete to file the physical application. The requirement that Kevin gave Mrs. Hutton was to file the application formally after the majority of the work is done. Thus, we're here tonight. To go over briefly, this is all on Mulberry Point, closer to Tuttle's Point in Guilford. 13 was the first one. You can see in the pictures that most of the work was just a lot of repointing of the seawall and the steps within the same confines. 17, the same thing, was a little bit of repointing of the wall, a little bit of fill area into the lawn that was washed out. 23, the physical wall itself was totally taken out. That has been replaced. What the masonry contractor did is physically take the old wall, chip all the concrete off, haul the concrete out, and then rebuild the wall with the same physical rock mass at the same height and in the same exact place. The only part of the project that hasn't been done yet is the repair to the existing dock, which you see here at 23. It hasn't been done because the building department will not issue a building permit until a CAM application has been submitted. So again, we're here tonight for that. The dock itself, and it's important to note, is a legal dock. Back in 1994, the owner went through the DEP for that dock, got legal permission, which that permit was submitted in the packet, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers acceptance of that dock as well. What you see here in the packet is the physical dock, the way it looked prior to the storm. It's going back exactly 100% in the same location and the same exact size and the same position as previous. So again, that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
We have a few letters in the file on this one from town staff, as well as the state. First letter is from Kevin McGee dated May 23rd, the town environmental planner. This application is for the after-the-fact reconstruction of seawalls damaged during Storm Sandy and for the repair of a dock. The repairs made to the seawall appear to have restored the wall to the pre-existing conditions, and the work conducted did not appear to have caused any adverse effects to the coastal resource of Long Island Sound. The applicant should be reminded that any work on the dock conducted waterward of the coastal jurisdiction line requires approvals from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. We also received a letter from John Goucher from the Office of Long Island Sound Programs from the state of Connecticut. We have reviewed the above referenced proposal for after-the-fact repairs of storm-damaged seawalls for consistency with the Connecticut Coastal Management Act policies. The repairs appear to have restored the walls to near their pre-existing conditions, and they were not enlarged. Accordingly, we have no comments for the Planning and Zoning Commission's consideration. In addition, we have a letter from John Henningsen. I guess this is from the Harbor Management Commission. He's vice chairman. In accordance with the state statutes in the Town Harbor Management Plan, the Town of Guilford Harbor Management Commission has reviewed the above application. It appears that the reconstruction involved pre-existing facilities and was conducted in response to damage from the recent hurricanes. As a result of our review, we have no objections or recommendations regarding this project. Questions from the commission? Okay, appears to be just really a reconstruction of what was there. Questions from the public? Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anybody wishing to speak against? Okay, any comments from anybody or any questions from anybody? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on this matter. And we will move forward with Christopher McManus, property located at 86 Seaside Avenue. This is a CAM site plan application for demolition of an existing house and construction of a new residence within 100 feet of the critical coastal resource.
Again, for the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. I'm here tonight on behalf of my client, Mr. Christopher McManus, for his project at 86 Seaside Ave in the town of Guilford, Connecticut. In the audience is Mr. McManus. Additionally, with me tonight is Mr. Tim Shields from Tom Cronin's office. Tom couldn't be here. His grandson was graduating high school tonight, so he had to be there, so Tim is filling in. If you have any legal questions, Tim is here to answer them. The subject parcel again is located at 86 Seaside Ave. It's located on the easterly side of Seaside Ave, so the project basically looks over and faces Guilford Harbor. The subject site is located in the R3 zone. It's composed of 0.4 acres, a little less than half an acre. There are some flood zones on this existing property. There's a flood zone VE13 and a flood zone AE12. The current site has an existing residence that's located up towards the street. The proposal for this project is to take down that existing residence. That residence was built in the early 1800s, I believe. To take that residence down and construct a new dwelling virtually in the same footprint. The proposed building will be a little bit bigger and will be pushed 5 feet more towards the street, away from the coastal resource. The reason for that house being shifted is to get a 100% code-compliant septic system in that backyard. So we're not only taking the house and building a new one, we're also installing a brand new septic system in the back. The site itself will handle the increase in impervious area with an on-site detention system, an underground detention system located to the north of the site. On the subject itself, regarding the CAM application, we have the general notes that DEP looks for as far as no stockpiling material for erosion. Mechanical notes about the house and the mechanicals have to be lifted to meet the flood zone requirements. We are in an area that has some environmental concerns, so there's a pesticide and fertilizers note stating that the use of them is prohibited. Additionally, we have our regular demolition notes on how to handle the taking down of the house. Pursuant to Mr. Kevin McGee's request, we put a view corridor note on the plan itself. The town of Guilford's CAM application states that there has to be a specific view corridor from the street. The view corridor that we're using is the southerly property line and the northerly edge the southerly edge of the house, creating I believe it's a 12-foot view lane there. It's stated in the view corridor note, and just in case there's in the future somebody wants to put a garage in there, we specifically went through and gave the property line bearing a distance, so there is no confusion in the future. Additionally, we have a zoning compliance chart. It's important to note that we meet all building setbacks, front, side, and rear. We meet the lot coverage requirement, building height, and max floor area. The second sheet to our plan set that you're going to see handles all the DEP requirements as far as dust protection, erosion control, fueling within a conservation area. And our conservation area, just so I note it, is the far back of the property does have a tidal wetlands. That tidal wetlands I had flagged by Mr. Richard Snarsky of New England Environmental Services, so we can get the exact location. So again, we have the erosion control notes and requirements and details on our sheet D1. They're also physically shown on our sheet SP1, which is the site plan, so the contractor knows to install them and where to install them. We also have all the detailed requirements for the septic system. Because we will be putting in a septic system, it will be 100% code compliant. I do believe you'll have a letter in your file from Dennis Johnson basically giving favorable opinion towards this project. I'd just like to bring up one more important thing on the site. On our plans, we have the physical drainage calculations on the site, which shows the existing impervious as far as imposed and the increase, and showing that we're 100% handling it with our underground detention system.
Very good. We have a few letters in the file on this, and we'll go to those before we do the questions. First one is from Dennis Johnson, Director of Health, dated June 5th. The applicant's proposed house construction project will include installation of a new septic system, an engineered design septic system prepared by Harkin Engineering, has been approved by the Health Department to serve the new building. Based upon soil test results and site plan review, it is recommended that the applicant's proposed use be approved. In addition, we have a letter from John Goucher from the Office of the Long Island Sound Program, State of Connecticut. We have reviewed the above referenced proposal for consistency with the Connecticut Coastal Management Act policies and have no comments for the P&Z's consideration. And finally, we do have some input from Kevin McGee dated May 23rd. The information provided indicates that the existing two-bedroom house will be removed and the new four-bedroom house, septic system, and stormwater management system will be constructed on the property. The stormwater management system consists of an underground infiltration system designed to infiltrate water from the building's roof gutters. The general sequence of construction is shown on the plan, provides for erosion and sedimentation control measures that are designed to protect the adjacent coastal resources. In order to make sure that the coastal resources are protected, I recommend the following conditions of approval: that the town of Guilford zoning enforcement officer should be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to any demolition or site regrading. Soil stockpiles should be contained by silt fences and/or hay bales. Soil erosion and sedimentation control measures shall be maintained until vegetation is established or suitable materials installed to the satisfaction of zoning enforcement. And number 2, a note should be placed on the CAM plan indicating the side of the property that will be maintained for view access. So you've already done that piece.
Yes.
I believe you've already done most of one, so you don't have a problem if we make that a condition.
Not at all.
Notify the CEO. Okay, let me ask the commission if they have any questions on this application. In addition, let me just point out that in the file we have 1, 2 letters which are in favor of granting this, and we do have a letter from John Henningsen which has withdrawn a previous letter in which he recommended the rejection of the application based on his review of the revised drawing. Apparently he's okay with allowing it to go forward at this point. So I guess you could say there's really 3 letters in the file that approve it. Questions from the commission?
Is there currently a well rather than septic? What is the septic? Is the septic replacing, expanding the existing?
The first question, it's city,
Sorry. Yeah,
it's city water out in front as well as gas. We do show in our plan to reconnect into that area with both city water and gas. We actually called out too, because it will require road opening permits, that it has to meet the town of Guilford standards. So that's
It's
number
currently
one.
connected to that?
I believe it's currently connected. No wells have shown up on the survey. There was no wells documented on the field part of the wells.
And what's the current condition of what's the current septic situation?
Not very good. I mean, it's operable, but by far, by putting a system in, it betters the process.
Is it in the same place?
No, it's actually existing non-conforming. It's on the side of the house and it doesn't meet the current code.
Any other questions from the commission? Questions from the public? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Sir?
Yeah, hi, Jim Galvin, 34 Seaside Avenue. I'm a neighbor. There's 3 houses in a row, as the commission already knows. All the 3 houses that are existing, or actually 2 of the 3 housing that are existing, are in real bad shape. One has been basically the one next to it that was owned by that older woman is in bad shape. So Chris is going to replace all these houses, and the neighborhood is just delighted with what he's doing, and plus it's going to improve the grand list for the town. So I can't see this being a bad deal at all.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone wishing to speak against the application? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask one more time. Any questions or any input anyone would like to provide?
I'd just like to get the comparative footprint, the before and after square footage or floor space.
Yeah, I can give it to you.
I didn't see it. I couldn't read it.
Yeah, we have a max floor area of 40% is allowed. We're at 6.5%. I can give it to you in impervious, since it's right in front of
Yeah,
the
sure.
impervious coverage.
That's good.
Impervious coverage on the site existing is 2,600. Proposed is 3,400 for a net increase of 833 square feet. So not a large increase, but.
And that's what was the percentage change? Or then, so the change in the percentage rather?
The calculator in front of me.
Oh, it's okay. Just give me the numbers.
It's 2,600 is existing, proposed is 3,400.
And out of
The total site is 17,227.
What can you go up to as of right in terms of the coverage and?
Well, impervious coverage, there's no requirement.
Right, but in terms of lot coverage, I mean, just.
There's floor area. Lot coverage is at 20%.
Okay.
We are at 13.41%, so we're well within it. We're not trying to grossly over maximize the house.
Okay. Any other questions from?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing on this matter and move to the Arthur Murray School of Dance, it's property located at 11 Water Street, asking for a special permit to allow a studio for dance instruction in the C1 zone. Anybody here to present?
I guess, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Stengel from 76 Kenny Street, Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm the one proposing to put the Arthur Murray Dance Studio in Guilford, Connecticut with a partner.
I will just mention to the commission, there's also a request here to waive a professionally prepared site plan, so we'll take that up when we have discussion and vote, but just keep that in mind. In terms of parking, Reg, everything is,
We don't have special parking requirements for dance studios, so you have to go by the retail that was required when it was an art gallery, or might still be an art gallery, and that was sufficient.
okay. How many students or whatever do you expect to have at any one time? What would be your maximum?
I guess on a given night where we have maybe a social gathering, the most I can imagine would be 30, maybe 40 at the most.
Okay, and you feel there's sufficient parking for those folks to?
Yeah, it's about we chose the location with the public lot and the street parking program.
Good. And there's no changes to the exterior of the building, just maybe some to the interior. I don't even know if you're proposing to do the interior, but there's nothing to the exterior of the building that you're going to be changing.
None at all, no.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the commission?
Which building are we looking at?
Dudley and Beckwith used to be?
I'm sorry?
Dudley and Beckwith?
And that's
the
the
Dudley
bike
Bike.
shop?
Yeah.
And then it was a bike, it's been several retail stores since then.
Yeah, we're hoping to
It's
change
the
that.
barber shop and the bar, right?
Is the
Yeah.
barber shop going away?
Is that?
No,
No,
it's in
it's on the
between that and the bar.
Right, yeah.
All right. So the bar is going to stay too. Good. And we want to see
Yeah,
that go away.
perfect. And the rest is across the street.
We do have a letter in the file from Dennis Johnson regarding the application. The applicant's proposed dance studio is a low-impact use and is compatible with the septic system serving the commercial building. Based upon site plan use and septic system design capacity, it is recommended that the applicant's proposed use be approved. Questions from the commission? Are there any questions from the public? Would anyone like to speak in favor of the application? Would anyone like to speak against it? Okay, hearing none, we'll ask one more time if there's any further input anyone would like to provide to us. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Okay, if I can get a motion to approve the revised agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first item to take up will be the Doe Market LLC, 934 Boston Post Road. If I could please get a motion.
I'll make the motion. Let's see, motion to the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit for Anthony Piracciano, the Doe Market, to allow seasonal outdoor dining with music at 934 Boston Post Road, map 47, lot 23, as shown on an application dated April 18, 2013, and as heard at a public hearing on June 5, 2013. There are no conditions. This application is approved based upon finding that the proposed activity will have no adverse impact on the surrounding residential uses. The special permit is effective on June 14, 2013, upon filing with the town clerk.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I'd like to, I'm certainly in favor of this, and I'm supportive of business. It's funny that this just come up tonight, because today my wife was we were in our car, and we were side story, we were driving, and everybody's got earphones in their heads. They're riding bikes and they're racing, and they've got earphones in their head, and there's music and noise everywhere. And I don't mind music. I have music. We own a business. We have music in our business inside. I just think it's a, you know, I don't even know if it has to be in here, but I think it's a little ridiculous to be having music outside at 7 o'clock in the morning, whether it's going to disturb the residential neighbors next door. But there are other businesses in the same building that and the bank. And I would only suggest that maybe we say that they shouldn't have the music on until 12 or 1 o'clock, till lunchtime, maybe.
Okay, do you want to make that a condition, or?
It's not my motion, I didn't.
Okay. Well, let's get some discussion. How do the other members feel about that?
Well, the question is, what type of music is it? Is it, if it's background music, it's not going to really go anywhere, but in that area, it's not going to be like a nightclub effect, you know, so I'm not sure that you're going to hear it on the post road. You'll probably hear more noise coming from the traffic that are passing the restaurant and so forth. Because it is, my interpretation of background music, it's going to be very soft, mellow, pleasant, and you probably aren't really paying attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder, so soft music or, you know, light music is, everyone has probably a little bit different opinion. The reason I'm not as concerned about it at this location is because it is in a commercial area. The location of it is going to be blocked by the building itself from the major residential pieces here. Across the street is all commercial. Basically, it's commercial everywhere, and the area that's most affected has the building in the way. So to the extent that the sound isn't going to go so much that way, it's going to go out into the other commercial areas. And as a business owner, I might not, you know, put the music on at 7, but, you know, I'm not going to tell someone how to run their business if they feel that adds value. So, you know, basically, I'm okay with it.
Are we all at all concerned then, if we allow this, then do we allow if Subway wanted it next to them, Ashley's wanted it next to them?
Well, it's,
You follow?
yeah, we would take each one individually, but I know the Brownstone, is that what it's called, or the Brown? Yeah, they came in and asked for the same thing, and we approved that. There was another application further down, I'm trying to think where it was, but we did approve that one as well. So you take each one on a case-by-case basis. I think, you know, depends on what they're gonna do, how loud it is, and where it's approved. For example, if he's asking for it here, if he wanted to put it over here, I think I'd have a lot bigger problem with it, because you're bordering up with the residential area, and I would anticipate we'd get more reaction from the public protesting it. Here, we really didn't get any, so, and again, because of the location, you know, this building is blocking the sound. I think you're going to get most of it out this way, which, you know, you have Walmart and, you know, the big wide parking lot here. Across the street, it's wooded and wetlands. So I'm not sure you're going to have a major impact on this one. If somebody wanted to do it, we'd take it up, and depending on where they wanted to put it and what they wanted to do, we may or may not approve it. But this wouldn't set a precedent, if that's what you mean, that just because we granted this, we've got to grant everybody who comes in and asks for it. It's case-by-case basis, and we look at the facts and the unique circumstances, and then come to a decision.
And most, I mean, we say 400 feet because that's the closest point that we can find that is a private property owner, but actually the distances are much greater for nearly everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the uniqueness of the way this is laid out. I think it's...
I think it's going to help him as far as growing his business. There's a cliche in sales, sell the sizzle, not the steak. The music is the sizzle to bring people in to sit down and have some coffee and eat some donuts or whatever he's going to sell. So I think we would want him to be very successful and draw as many clients as patrons as he can.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, one abstention, everyone else is in agreement. All right, we'll move on to the Orcutt matter, special permit to allow an accessory apartment in a single-family residence. If I could get a motion, please.
I'll read it. Voted, the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit for Caleb and Judy Orcutt for an accessory apartment at 200 Orcutt Drive, map 94, lot 6A, as shown on an application dated 4/25/2013. This application is approved with, there are no conditions. This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with 273-19 of the zoning code. The special permit is effective on June 14, 2013, and upon filing with the town clerk.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, he's not changing the outside footprint of the building, and it's a room that's already got a bathroom in it. It's not, to me, it's pretty straightforward.
I would agree, pretty straightforward. It agrees with everything in the checklist. So unless there's some more discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, one other item, we have a request for a professionally prepared, a waiver of a professionally prepared site plan with this, so if I can get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, again, this is one where there's really nothing changing on the outside, so due to that, I don't think it's really necessary that we get the professionally prepared site plan. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing now, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you're all set. Next item is the Hutton matter. This is the after-the-fact CAM site plan approval for the 3 seawalls and the 1 dock. I can get a motion.
I voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve coastal site plan application for Christina Hutton at 13, 17, and 23 Rock Lane, map 17, 10 lots 68, 69, and 29 is shown on an application dated April 24th, 2013. There are no conditions, and the application is approved based upon finding that it conforms with the zoning code and is consistent with coastal management policy of the state of Connecticut.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Basically, I think for the most part, all we're doing is putting back what was there before the hurricane and trying to make reasonable improvements. All of the staff input and the state input basically said the same thing, that they were not enlarging anything and were simply putting back what was there to begin with, including the legal dock. So I'm in favor of it.
On a related note, I think that that everybody was appropriate. I want to make sure that we have provided appropriate cover for George and Kevin and other people making these kinds of decisions in emergency situations. I'm concerned that maybe our regulatory or statutory support for allowing them to do that is a little bit thin. I think that we have an excellent case that it's already there, but I think we may want to provide greater specificity for them under these circumstances.
Probably what we might want to do, it's a good point, is have Chuck take a look at some of this, because just to make sure that, I understand there's emergency situations where if you don't do the work, it's probably going to cause more damage than if you wait to go through the regulatory procedure and get all the I's dotted and T's crossed. So there has to be some discretion to allow people to do the work where you're likely to get continued erosion or something, and then come in for the approval later. But it might pay to just take a quick look with Chuck to see.
There wasn't statutory.
There probably,
Connecticut
there may either
statute.
be state, or if we need to add anything into the local zoning regs.
If it's adequate, then that's
Yeah,
that's
that'd
great.
probably be the end of it, but if
I
he,
haven't
Problem,
seen it.
that's worth looking at.
yeah, if he feels it needs to be beefed up, that's something we should take into the zoning committee and resolve.
Okay.
I would like him to be able to stand up and say, as per
Right.
Connecticut general statutes.
All right, good point. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that's approved. Moving right along to the McManus application, if I can get a motion on that.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a coastal site plan application for Christopher McManus at 86 Seaside Avenue, map 29, lot 119, as shown on the site development plan prepared for Christopher McManus Building Incorporated, number 86 Seaside Avenue, dated 4/11/2013, revised to 5/31/2013, 2 sheets and architectural plans dated 4/4/13. This application is approved with the following conditions: the environmental planner letter that's dated May 23rd, 2013. This application is approved based on the finding that it conforms with the zoning code and is consistent with the coastal management policies of the state of Connecticut.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Good. Discussion. Well, to the extent we had received public input on this, it was all favorable. Town staff and Harbor Commission were also in favor of granting this, and From the testimony we heard, it does sound like it's an improvement to the neighborhood based on what's existing there now and what's going to be demolished. Again, it's got all of the conditions in there that the state and the town require for new construction in this area where there's a flood hazard. So based on the drawings which we've seen, I'm in favor of granting the application. And in addition, we're getting the septic system improved, which will reduce pollution and improve the quality of the water in that area, hopefully, as well. Any other discussion? All right.
I agree that it's likely to be an improvement in terms of nuisance, health, and environmental situations. The house there has got problems. I think it's great that somebody's taking action.
All right. I'll call for a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, they're approved. Moving on, we have the Arthur Murray School of Dance. This is a special permit to allow a studio for dance instruction in the C1 zone at 11 Water Street. If I can get a motion.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit for a dance studio for Arthur Murray School of Dance at 11 Water Street, map 39, lot 88, is shown on an application dated May 7, 2013. This application is approved with no conditions. This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code. The special permit is effective on June 14th, 2013, and upon filing with the town clerk.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, discussion.
Let's dance.
Yeah, well, there's no impact to the outside of the building. It sounds like one of the reasons the applicant picked this is because of the adequate parking for their purposes. So again, that's a good factor to consider. And in addition, according to town staff, this conforms with all of the existing regulations that we have. So for all those reasons, I'm in favor. And in addition, we did not receive any public input on this, which was negative. So I'm for supporting this application and voting for it. Anyone else on the commission have a comment?
It's likely to vitalize the town center as well.
No dancing in the street.
Yeah.
You could start out dancing, then get a haircut.
We could fence that street off and have a heck of a dance there.
That's right, as long as it doesn't impact.
After we get a few people, 100 people trained to dance.
All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you're all set. All right, let's move forward with the site plan reviews. The first one is Bank of America. It's a property located at 916 Boston Post Road. This is a site plan revision to allow regrading of the existing parking lot to comply to ADA specifications. Someone here to present. Sir?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Javier Campos. I work for Canada Buxton Construction Company out of West Springfield, Massachusetts. And basically, we work under the Bank of America's ADA compliance program. So all over Connecticut, we go especially to the older branches and get them up to speed when they need items. In this case, at the branch over at 916 Boston Post Road, right now, it only has access on the south side of the branch. And basically, what we'll be doing is trying to provide access on the north side and north side parking lot. And we're simply, honestly, just cutting it, removing the sidewalk that's immediately in front of the branch and repouring it, and we'll provide the cutout for ADA accessibility. And in addition to that, we're also going to be basically repaving that entire north parking lot as well.
Okay, questions for the applicant? Okay, if I can get a motion then?
I'll read it. Voted the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a site plan revision for Bank of America at 916 Boston Post Road, map 47, lot 22-A, for regrading a parking lot as shown on map of Bank of America ADA upgrades, dated 12/31/2012, prepared by Gensler Architect. This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code.
Okay, any second?
Second.
All right, discussion. Reg and George, I mean, there's no variances or anything, all the work is within the setback,
No,
everything is...
It's simply regrading the
Regrading.
parking lot and bringing it up to ADA standards.
Okay, which, can't argue with that. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you're all set. Cease and desist orders. Permission to issue municipal fine citations with regard to DNS Auto. Reg, I suppose you're going to present on this?
I am.
Okay.
I am. My name is Reggie Wood. I'm the zoning officer for the town of Guilford, and I'm before you this evening to ask you for permission to invoke the municipal fine citation for DNS Auto. I've been working with them since April, when a complaint was lodged with the First Selectman's office about the unsightliness of the property with all the cars. I looked at the site, and they far exceeded the 27-car limit that they were approved for. I am trying to work with Dave Lindgren, who's the owner of the business. John Mazzarella is the owner of the property. And we had a meeting with the First Selectman, George Crawl, David, and myself. And David told us some things. He said he has some cars there that belong to him. He bought them from the Saab dealership when they closed. After they closed, he couldn't keep the cars there anymore, so he had to bring them to his property at DNS Auto. And we explained to him that we sympathize with his dilemma, but he's out of compliance with his approval, and this isn't the first time. If the commission remembers, I was here before you 2011 for the same thing. I then visited his site on April 11th, and we talked about what progress had been made from the April 4th meeting. And he said that 3 cars left that day, and he and I agreed to meet again on April 26th. That meeting didn't work out. We met closer to the first week in May. And although the property looked neater, he still was above the limit. I gave him an ultimatum, and I said, if you cannot bring your property in compliance by 1st of June, I don't have any choice but to request that we invoke the citation. I don't like to do this. I know he's a businessman in town, but he really, the business needs to look a little bit better, and it's got to get back to the 27 cars that they were approved for. I went tonight and counted and hoped that there wouldn't be over, and I counted 38 cars. And that didn't include the records that were there. I don't have any choice at this point, and I feel badly about having to do this, but I think we have rules and approvals were made for reasons. The site is not that big. It's very visible from the post road. As a matter of fact, the complainant was a resident from a neighboring town. It's embarrassing for the zoning office to get these complaints. It's embarrassing for the First Selectman's office to get the complaints.
Okay. Any questions for Reggie?
Yeah, I have one.
Sure. Peter, why don't you go first, and then Tom?
I remember back in 2011, there was a major problem with this. Was he able to resolve the issue after we imposed the
Yes,
fine?
just before I was ready to invoke the fines, I asked the commission for permission to start the proceedings. I went out again and looked, and the property had finally been brought into compliance in regard to the number of cars that were parked overnight, and that would be the 27.
So how did he resolve the issue? What did he do with the cars that were in excess?
I think he called car owners to come and pick up their vehicles that were repaired. I think he junked cars that he was able to junk. I don't know what else he did to bring himself into compliance. He told me that he has removed cars, he's junked some cars. He said he lost some money on the cars he had to junk, but he's trying to bring his property into compliance. But it just lingers and lingers, and I can't go to another property and say, hey, you have to comply with the number of cars that you have if we can't get this one in order. And this one typically seems to be out of order more than it is in accordance with the approval that was granted. And it's very visible.
Yeah, the question is, why, if they are junk and you cannot repair them, they're not going to be driven away, I mean, why does he keep junk in front of his property?
I don't have that answer. I am not a repair person. My only perception is he must see some value in buying something that.
One of the things he told us was he has a number of cars that need to be upgraded for resale. And so if he had the time and the money to put into these cars, then he would be able to fix them up and put them up for sale, presumably sell them. But, you know, he's a limited, there are only, I think, 2 people that work there, and they only have so much time and energy, and there's only so much money to do that. So he acquired a bunch of cars, older cars that need upgrading before they can be resold. And if he just gets rid of them, that represents a significant loss for him. But he doesn't really have the wherewithal to fix them all up at once and put them up for sale either.
Has it been suggested that he basically buy some more property to store this? Where
Yes,
Or lease some, or
Yes.
rent?
yes, that was suggested.
Does he have a garage that he can put some of these inside, or is he maxed at 27 total?
There are 3 bays inside the garage where they do the work, and each one of those bays have motor vehicles in them.
So he's 27 total, or inside and out? Like
I didn't count
You
vehicles
did.
inside.
Oh, okay.
So there's 38 as of today,
Correct.
plus there was some records there,
Well, the business
couple.
has 2 records.
so there's 40 cars there, 40 vehicles on the property,
Correct.
and there's supposed to be 27.
That's right.
All right.
It's not 2,
Well,
3.
I guess we can, sure,
Yes.
Tom, do you have a question?
Is there actually in the paragraph that's written here, issues other than the cars?
Well,
Because we say for 5,
the building is needs
Site-
to be finished, you know.
but you can't fine him for that, right?
No,
Okay, so this fine is strictly for the number of cars that are
Right.
on the property.
correct.
Now, what's the process you have to go through after you get approval from us, or?
Well, I have to fine, I'm going to ask you for permission to fine him each day.
So you don't have to go back and get any kind of legal document that you have
It's the
to?
whole process.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I have to write up the fine citation. It has to be mailed out, regular mail and certified mail. And if I fine each day, then each day a separate citation has to go out.
Okay.
He has 30 days from the date he receives a citation to pay it. If he doesn't, or ask for a hearing, if that doesn't happen, I have to send him a notice and say, you have received citations 30 days ago, and if you want to have a public hearing, please respond within 10 days. I should say a hearing with the hearing officer to contest the fines. Please respond within 10 days. If he doesn't respond within 10 days, then I send a letter to the hearing officer saying that these fines have been issued and there's no response from the person that they've been issued against. Then the hearing officer sends a letter to the person who gets the fines. They have 30 days to respond to the hearing officer. If they do not, then the hearing officer can take it to the court in New Haven, and and asks that the fine be levied against the person. The court will, in all circumstances, levy the fine against the person, and then they send that person notification that they've done this and that they have the right to appeal the court's decision. Then after that, they have a whole year to pay for the fine.
At what stage did he comply last time? After he got the
Today I was
initial
ready
letter?
to send the fine in the mail. I went out to look one more time.
So,
I was just saying, how long did that last? Not too long, I would assume.
I didn't keep track.
Tonight, we're authorizing you to begin levying fines starting tonight, starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And if for some reason he happened to be in compliance starting tomorrow and that compliance were to last for X number of days, how long and then were to end, how long is our authorization?
If he's in compliance tomorrow, then I won't issue fines.
But what if he is in compliance tomorrow and out of compliance next Thursday?
Then I come
Is
back
our
to the
authorization, you
Yes.
come back to us
Yes,
again?
that's the way the ordinance is written.
Each time he's in compliance, you have to come back to us
If he's
for
not in
authorization again.
compliance.
I mean, each time he's in compliance, our previous authorization is ended.
Correct. Because if somebody has complied with their approval or the regulations, then there isn't a violation.
so what is the legal process here in terms of officially notifying him? So, because you just said that the fines would start tomorrow.
Correct.
Don't
He
you?
gets that in the mail.
So you're not gonna, you would, if we approve this, you wouldn't go there tomorrow and say, Dave, starting today, you're gonna be fined $150 a day.
You know, I spoke to him today about it.
So he's on record that you're coming here tonight to ask for the authority to
Oh,
do this,
yes.
and once he gets a certified copy or a copy in the mail tomorrow, we'll have written notice, if we approve it.
Correct.
Okay. And then the process that you described begins.
That's correct.
If he's substantially more compliant tomorrow, for instance, if he has 30 cars there tomorrow or 28 cars tomorrow, it's within your discretion not to levy a fine, even after we authorize this?
If he complies with his approval, and there are 27 cars, I don't issue the fine, because I can't, because then, but if it's 3 cars,
Do you retain discretion if we specifically authorize you tonight? At that?
Yes, until I
If
would
it-
say
if he's
yes,
not-
until it goes back.
If he's not at 27,
Until it goes back into.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it should be
So-
black
if
and
he
white.
says to me,
If it's,
if I go tomorrow and there are 30 cars, as you said, and he says to me, look, by Friday, they're all going to be gone, I will go back Friday.
yeah, but you have discretion.
I give
But-
everyone, not just
Right.
this person.
Yeah.
I give everyone as much time as they need to comply.
Well, April 4th to now.
Right.
So,
It's not something you want to do.
All right.
well, I'm trying to, I guess it's really a question, it's a question for a different time. There's no, this is almost like an infinite loop. That just keeps going on and on and on, and there's no end here.
Well, you recall the
Yes.
example interfere.
That is the way the ordinance is written. We can do only what the ordinance is written. If the Board of Selectmen want to change it, or the state, at
It's the
some point it
state
gets to the state
statutes.
statutes, so.
The statutes give us the powers to do things. They give us the powers to have zoning regulations and enforcement and the municipal fine citation, but they lay out the parameters of how you have to do this. And I can't deviate from what
No,
they
you can't.
say.
So if there's an issue with that, I guess you have to take it up with your state senator or state rep. But having said that, we have what we have before us. So moving back to this, we've heard the process, we've heard the request. Are there any other specific questions that we have for Reggie to help us make a final decision here?
So actually, in the course of 2 years, he's been in violation consistently in a 2-year period of time, but he's never paid a penny.
That's right.
That's not good.
Well, you know, it's better to work with someone and try to get them to bring their property into compliance, whether they're a business or a homeowner. But
I mean, really, the purpose of this is to
complaints.
ensure compliance. We're not out to try to punish somebody as much as we are to try to bring them into compliance. So that's what we're really trying to do here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think we've probably just heard a lot of information. Is there any further discussion on what we would like to do here?
The thing is, I'm very sympathetic to anyone that has a business. I want them to survive and obviously to add to the grand list and so forth. But we also have a blight law, I guess, in Guilford and so forth. And Post Road is a heavily traveled road. We don't want people leaving Madison and all of a sudden looking at junk. So, I mean, we have to get him to basically comply with our regulation.
Right, and he has an approved site plan. The commission did state in the site plan what was allowed. So there was a hearing on it. He did have his opportunity to come forward based on the size of the lot, the particulars, et cetera, et cetera. We came to a conclusion that that was the appropriate number of vehicles. And he agreed to it as well, and now he's not in compliance. So it's not something I enjoy doing, finding anybody, but in a situation like this, where it's significantly over the number, not just a little bit, and where this appears to have been going on for a long period of time, I just don't see where we really have any alternative to not provide Reggie the power to try to go out and enforce this with her discretion. So as an example, like you said, if it's down to 30 tomorrow and you get a promise to end up by Friday, the rest of them will be gone, you have discretion to use your judgment. And however, this permission will be in place until the number comes back into compliance. So you won't have to come back to us again until he's in compliance and then goes out of compliance again. Okay? All right, so let's, any other discussion or anything else anyone?
And if he finds the 27 isn't adequate, he does have the option to come back in and plead his case. And
Yes,
look
that's-
to
He knows
and
that's
ultimately-
true. It has to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, he has the right to come in and do that. So there are ways to handle this situation if 27 isn't enough, but violating the site plan requirements and the regulations of the town is not the way to do it. All right, I guess we pretty much had enough discussion. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of providing Reggie with the permission to issue the municipal fines that she has requested in this? All for it?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Okay. You have our
Thank you,
blessing
sir.
and use your discretion.
Thank you for explaining it so clearly.
We have a few mandatory referrals. The first one is from the town of Guilford. This is an easement for the town parking lot off Whitfield Street located on the assessor's map, 29 lot 87, for an expansion of the septic system servicing 11 Water Street. Is there anyone here, George, who's going to cover that? You're it. All right, George. You're on.
11 Water Street, the building we were just talking about, where the dance studio is, and the bar, and the barber shop, and a couple of other uses. The owner has negotiated an arrangement with the town, to the Board of Selectmen, to use a portion of the parking lot, which is just to the, I guess, north it is, of that building, which you see in this little aerial photograph. I don't know if you have that or not. Use a portion of that for his leaching system. And since that's a property disposition by the town, it requires a mandatory referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
We do have a letter from Joe Mazza, First Selectman, Town of Guilford, dated May 20th, regarding this. He is saying that the Board of Selectmen recommended to Planning and Zoning under town meeting, I guess also under town meeting, granting an easement to Mr. Gil Lombard for the town's parking lot off of Whitfield Street for an expansion of the septic system servicing his building at 11 Water Street. In accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 8-24, I am forwarding the following request to you for your consideration at the June 5th meeting. Mandatory referral, easement for town parking lot off Whitfield Street located at Assessor's Map for expansion of the septic system servicing 11 Water Street. Okay, so basically what they want to do is grant him an easement, allowing him to come into the parking lot for his leach field or septic system, whatever it is that he needs. Board of Selectmen have voted for this, and I guess it's either a town meeting or a special meeting, something like that, where that also has to be.
I think it has to go to town meeting.
Town meeting voted on there, so we're just handling the mandatory referral. Let me ask for a motion on this first, and then we can discuss it and vote on it.
Voted that in accordance with the Section 824 of the Connecticut General Statutes, the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approves the following mandatory referral. Mandatory referral, granting of easement for expanding of septic system servicing 11 Water Street, Guilford, Connecticut, under a portion of the municipal town parking lot located off of Whitfield Street, Guilford, Connecticut.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, any discussion on this?
No.
All right. Hearing none, I will then call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Then we will move on to the next item, which is another mandatory referral for the acquisition of property in the form of an easement for the purpose of constructing and maintaining a retaining wall on a portion of 2 parcels of land located in Falcon Road for the purpose of protecting a portion of Falcon Road from storm erosion. Is there anyone here, George?
That's me.
Okay.
I apologize, I didn't bring a map of this, where this is located.
Last meeting,
We did this already?
we approved
The
the,
coastal-
Mark Damiani made the
Right,
presentation at
right.
the last meeting, that's what this was about.
This
And
is, it's
I
right.
This is where the tennis courts are.
Right before you, if you know the little dip before you get to the tennis courts, if you're proceeding in a clockwise direction around Falcon Road, that's what this is for. The road right-of-way is very narrow there, and in order to construct this, the retaining wall, which you heard about 2 weeks ago, we need this easement.
Okay. Again, we do have a letter from Joe Mazza, First Selectman, Town of Guilford, dated June 3rd with regard to this. The Board of Selectmen recommends for your review the following easements necessary to construct and maintain a retaining wall over 2 parcels of land located in Falcon Road to protect a portion of Falcon Road from storm erosion. In accordance with Connecticut General Statute, Section 8-24, I am forwarding the following request for your consideration at your June 5th regular meeting. Mandatory referral, acquisition of property in the form of an easement for the purpose of constructing and maintaining a retaining wall on a portion of 2 parcels of land located at Falcon Road, identified as map 2 on map 2, lot 42 in the town assessor's map, and 144 Falcon Road, identified as map 2, lot 43, respectively, for the purpose of protecting a portion of Falcon Road for storm erosion. All right, why don't, if I can get a motion on this, and then we'll discuss it and vote on it.
I'll move it. Voted that in accordance with Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes, the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approves the following mandatory referral. Mandatory referral, Falcon Road, Guilford, Connecticut, easements for construction of retaining wall.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion that we need to have on this matter? I think it's pretty
Does
straightforward.
this have to go to town? This doesn't have to go to town.
This will as well. Any acquisition of property or sale of town property generally has to go there, so.
We're getting proactive about erosion.
Yes, good point.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, great. We have a number of receives, but before I do that, I just want to go back to the Arthur Murray Dance Studio. I neglected to ask for a motion to waive the professionally prepared site plan related to that application. So if I
So moved.
I hear a second. Okay, no, I don't think there's any problem with that in the sense that there's no construction to the outside. This is just really a change of use to the ballroom portion of it, and the applicant indicated there'll be no changes whatsoever to the outside. So having said that, any other discussion? Call for a vote then, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, that's been tied up in a neat little bow. Okay, we have a couple of CAM site plans to receive. Looks like the economy must be getting better here. Lighthouse Properties of Milford, property located 28 Vineyard Road. It's a CAM site plan for the demolition of the existing house and construction of a new one within 100 feet of the critical resource. The We'd like to do a site walk on this on June 15th, and we'd like to receive and set a public hearing for the July 3rd meeting.
I'll move it.
Any
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Takahashi and Sharp residence, this is property located at 69 Andrews Road, the CAM site plan to construct an addition to a residence within 100 feet of the coastal resource. Receive and set a public hearing for 7/3 and do a site walk on 6/15.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Gary and Linda Friedlander, this is property located 835 Mulberry Point Road. It's a CAM site plan for the repair and revetment of a revetment damaged in Tropical Storm Sandy, partial after the fact. Site walk on 6/15 and receive and set a public hearing for 7/17.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last one for the CAMs, or the John Saunders, property located 73 Meadow Street. This is a CAM site plan to allow raising of a house above the FEMA flood elevation. Site walk it on 6/15 and receive and set a public hearing for July 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along for some special permits, we have Pamela Harding, property located at 280 Old Whitfield Street. This is a special permit to allow accessory apartment in addition to single-family dwelling. Receive and set a public hearing for July 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Buffalina, this is property located at 1070 Boston Post Road. Special permit to allow outdoor seating and a restaurant within 100 feet of a residence. This is pending approval from the Historic District Commission. Receive and set a public hearing date of 7/3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okey-doke. Lighthouse Properties in Milford, property located 28 Vineyard Road. This is, I guess we also have a CAM associated with this, but this is for the special permit for construction of a new home on a lot under 10,000 square feet. Receive and set a public hearing for 7/3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Robert and Melissa Carroll, property located 86 Water Street, special permit for a home handicraft business, custom floral design and sales, in an accessory structure. Receive and set a public hearing for July 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Rick and Jane Schulten, property located 1820 Moose Hill Road. This is a special permit to modify an existing accessory apartment permit. Receive and set a public hearing for July 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Looks like July 3rd is going to be a busy night. Some zoning code amendments.
The day before July 4th.
Yes,
I thought
amend,
we were gonna have, I thought we weren't gonna have a meeting July 3rd.
well, I think we're going to need to, based on all the applications we're getting. We're going to
As many as I could at the next meeting, but this is like,
amend section 273-91B, subsection 5, subsection C, subsection 2. Amendment to the coastal area management regulations to remove the exemption for docks having landings less than 36 feet. Receive and set
Square
up, pardon me?
Square feet.
Square feet, okay. Receive and set a public hearing for July 17th.
I have a question on this. Why is this coming up?
Which one is this?
The
Amendment.
the docks under 36 square feet.
This is something that the zoning committee, in their wisdom, came up with.
David Grigsby would like to present on this, I think.
Oh, really?
All right.
David, he brought it up at the
David
zoning committee.
Grigsby recommended
Yeah.
this because it's not working out with that little clause added in there as an exemption. And so he proposed that it be changed, and the zoning committee discussed it and agreed, and so here it is.
All right, well, we'll set it out for a public hearing and see what comes back, and we'll make
So
a
moved.
decision. All in favor?
Second.
Okay, all in aye? Anybody opposed? Okay, amend section 273-27A to include the PV zone. Receive and set a public hearing for July 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
That's
Aye.
Eric's
Mr.
comment.
Chairman,
Remember,
what is that?
it was a use that was allowed and
right.
before the old zoning was changed.
Yes.
It just got lost.
It's a clerical error or some kind of a,
Just
Oh, they
spelled
talked about it. I'm
incorrect.
sorry.
Yeah.
I know what that is. Thank you.
so we're
Aye.
just trying to get it back to where it was. Amend Table 3B, number 9, to allow projections of up to 3 feet in the PV, PV2, TS, TS2, SC, SCW, MUC1, MUC2, and the MUOS zones. Receive and set a public hearing for July 17th.
These last three are the multi-use designations?
Correct.
Are there any other multi-use designations besides these three?
No.
These are all three of them?
MU stands for mixed use, not
Mixed
multi.
use.
Yes, mixed use.
Thank you.
Commercial usually and residential.
What is this?
This is also sort of a clerical error. We just left out that we allowed projections in all the old commercial zones, but for some reason, we wrote all the new ones. We never really included the allowance for projection.
Yes.
So
It's
it's
the same.
somewhat of an editorial change, right?
So this is just a correction to correct an oversight.
Right, yeah.
Overhang.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion, receive and set a public hearing for 717? Do I get a motion to?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And this next one we'll have fun with. Add to 273-243B, for the purposes of this article, an animal unit shall also be defined to allow a combination of different types of animals, provided that the amount for each animal is a proportional amount of the maximum amount otherwise allowable for such animal in a non-combined unit. Somebody can explain this to me. For example, 2 llamas are considered one animal unit and 50 poultry are considered one animal unit. So 1 llama, 50% of the maximum number of llamas, and 25 poultry, 50% of the maximum number of poultry, may be combined to equal 1 animal unit. Okay, that's relatively straightforward. Receive and set public hearing for July 17th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, we have an invitation to the commission from the Guilford Housing Authority for the groundbreaking ceremony at Boston Terrace. I believe this will be next Thursday, June 13th at 3:30 p.m. at 41 Boston Terrace. So if anyone can make it, I would encourage you to go. I will be there myself. In addition, we have a couple other items to discuss. The first one I just want to bring up is on the Design Review Committee, we have appointed Robert Charney, an architect to the Design Review Committee. He had talked to me, gave me his resume. I discussed it with the chairman of Design Review, and we're all in agreement that he would be a good add. So we're moving forward with that. In addition, we have a letter from Just Hatched, which is a request to erect a 20-foot by 20-foot tent in the parking lot for 6 days. The days they're asking for July 18th, 19th, and 20th for the tent sale, and then on the 25th, 26th, and 27th for the sidewalk sale.
This is, we've done this before for them, right?
Yes.
Exactly the same thing.
And it complies to 3 days in a row,
Yep.
3 days in a row. and
each time.
They're actually pretty good because they have it here prior to it and not after the fact. So I'll ask for
I move that we give them the permission they're requesting.
Second.
all right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, just a couple other announcements. The Planning Committee's next meeting will be June 18th at 5:50 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room. And the Zoning Committee's meeting will be June 10th, 2013 at 5 p.m. in Town Hall South.
Just to note, Table 5 will be making their recommendations and presentations on the June 18th Planning Committee.
Okay, that's important. I'm glad you reminded me
That
to.
is not going to be canceled.
All right.
These are at 5 and 5:15 respectively.
Good. One other item we have is approval of the bills. We have a bill from Shore Publishing for $317.58. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
Pay the bills. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, pay the bills. Having no further business, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.